And now we're in the end game with 4. They only handed out 1 additional stage since the early down onto René here. And there you can see why Sequence is in the grand final, because they are fighting and they are finding solutions in the most difficult situations. And even the dodge with the low pro chains here, that is potentially still the down onto Ace though, but you might make sure that your survivors are escaping. Feng taking the hit, so you would reduce it to 6 at this point. Ace on run towards the exit gate. The question is, will
Hey, what it do? It's your boy Q, and welcome back to YouTube. This last weekend, we saw Dead by Esports wind down their year of competitive DBD, ending their Holiday Horrors tournament with Eternal versus Sequence in the grand final. And we are going to see, like we saw when Jinx took down Agony in round 2 of the same tournament, Billie is back on Sheltered Woods, which leads to such high action and really honestly fun to call competitive gameplay. And what we saw here in the grand finals was the team that took set number 1 was able to maintain that momentum and finish by winning 3 of 4 sets. However, I do think that this is a really good example. If you look at the point total after the first set, it's a really good example of why DBE moving forward is going to be going to like more of these set-based matchups versus like the point-based matchups with sets, other than just the grand finals moving forward. And if you are interested as far as what the Wolfpack has going on over in DBE heading into the new year, as always, I'm going to leave a link for their Discord down in the description below. All right. And of course, as always, my Twitch link is going to be down there if you ever want to swing through while we're live. I'll also have my personal Discord down in the description as well. That way, like, you can come in and hang out when we're offline, or it's probably the best place to keep up as far as where we're shoutcasting personally, since our schedule is getting pretty booked in the early parts of 2022. But I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get to what y'all clicked on the video for, which was watch this set here with Sequence versus Eternal. Don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you enjoy the video, since that helps us out with that good old YouTube algorithm. And of course, if you hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, we can catch you right back here for that next video. All right. Especially since a lot of y'all that do keep coming back haven't hit that button yet, and we're chasing down 350. So I'd appreciate you. All right. Until next time, though, for real, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love harder. It's your boy Q, signing out. Yeah, and it's, what's kind of interesting, like I was looking at, you had brought up the killer list, but to see it come down to a decision here between 2 teams with such experience and not seeing like 2 of the staples in the Nurse and the Spirit, or the Nurse and the Blight, I feel like it's going to like really let these teams really kind of shine as far as like their overall grasp of both sides of matchmaking.
Yeah, it's very nice also to start with Hillbilly, right? Because Hillbilly, we're talking about that also a lot of times, is very like the average stages are 2-3 stages in the mid game, and then you can maybe get a no one escapes death down towards the end. But in general, the results always with 1 or 2 stages only. And I feel like that's a big opener, a set where not so many turns, not so many changes like we see Oni later. In an Oni set, everything can happen in just a second based on how the Oni is designed. Billie feels like we're talking about 4 or 5 stages, 5 or 6 stages. And I feel like something so close, whoever will be able to decide that for them is going to be in a very good spot here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will help you build, especially like the momentum on top. But I mean, keeping in mind that since it's set based, it doesn't give you necessarily the same sort of like momentum on the scoreboard, right?
That's true, yeah. It would be just the set, and then you need to keep this mindset going. And talking about mindset, Zaka is gonna feel very good here, getting the low pro hit just after a few seconds into this trial here in Chase with René here. Now a little bit of a mind game not working out. The Zarina really patient. The mind game's coming out with the low pro chains here. Sequence really doesn't want to have it down right here. Nice zoning though by Zaka, and that does look quite difficult for our Zarina here.
Yeah, is going to be able to make the window. I don't think you're going to be able to make it to the other pallet, though. And not only is that going to be a very quick down, I mean, we're talking, what, 45 seconds into the trial here, but you've also already removed 2 of what's usually like 7 or 8 pallets on this map. So Zaka off to a really strong start. It's going to really start to push some pressure onto these survivors here early. You will notice as we came over to this generator, though, no sparks or anything, no ruin to help as far as with the regression, but I think part of that just shows the confidence in Zaka as far as his proficiency on the Billie, and I think we're kind of seeing why with such a quick down.
Yeah, it's really great, right? And you can see that Zaka is really using this time for himself and camping into second stage here, which is potentially huge, as you might get an elimination then while the mid game is still up. We are now on 30 seconds left here on Corrupt Intervention, so you can also camp while 3 generators are still blocked. It's always huge if a killer, especially the weaker ones, get it down during Corrupt still up. We have seen very consistently to deny that by the teams here. Really strong start, and they're really strong here by Zaka. Eternal must feel really good right now. First generator coming out. We might see a second one in the distance, but 2 for 2 stages is still not the best start for our survivor team here.
Yeah, I mean, if we are going to see a second one, it's going to be a little while. We have 2 uncovered ones right by us at the moment, and then the one that did have the most progress is actually going to be covered up by that deadlock. Zaka really getting the benefit of a very early down. Also, too, knowing that kind of over where that gen is, you were able to create a little bit of a dead zone already, knowing that you've already taken out a couple pallets over there. So really, the early down plus kind of removing a couple pallets, as well as being next to your other 2 gens that were open, really gives Zaka a free camp into the elimination here, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I was expecting that we see only the camp in the second stage, but thinking about it longer, what you say, it really makes sense. You have the time. So we have seen some Hillbillies getting 0 stages, even on Shelterwoods in the mid game, and therefore, especially in the grand final where you face the other strongest team of the event right now, you really want to get that over. And we see that 4 gens are still standing here, a kill with 4 generators remaining. That is insane for Zaka, that is insane for Eternal, and even though they might get a few generators out of the way by splitting it up individually, you're already in chase with the next survivor here and potentially get it down before all generators will be completed.
Yeah, and the other tough part when you think about it, if they're split up, that does mean, especially now that you've already found a survivor and you've taken them off the generator, more than likely, whenever the second generator pops, the one that the other survivor is currently working on is going to be the one that's furthest progressed. So that one's actually going to be getting covered by the deadlock, or they're going to have to wait longer to try and do like a 99 tech, which really kind of works in Zaka's favor because you're already in chase, you have the entered survivor, and you've already got somebody removed from the game.
Really great. Ooh, the Fang able to dodge here, and that's really what Sequence needs right now. They need a really strong chase with some additional time, some stuns as well to make the distance. That's what Sequence needs right now, but we are still on 4 generators here, never mind 3 though. Should be coming out another one. We see this one over here with the deadlock, and then in the distance, I remember, was a generator with roughly 60%, so Sequence preparing these generators, but this Fang here has a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility right now. Is running the shack, gets another vault here, so now she's taking a lot of time from Zaka, which is a really good run and potentially puts Sequence back into a better condition.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about at the beginning of the game how Zaka had done a very good job of getting a lot of pressure to start off this trial, but this chase right now by Killjet has really allowed our survivors here to regain some of that control here. We're seeing a 3rd gen getting complete across the way, and it does mean that we probably are going to see one of those gens probably starting to get worked on as far as one of the 2 remaining survivors, either the Ace or the Adam, get stunned, though. Plus 10 wood in the face. Man, Killjet just on an amazing run right here.
Yeah, really huge pullback here for Sequence. It also pushes the confidence goes down. Now another generator just completed, so 1 more to go. They might get this done as we have 1 more survivor in the trial here. It is not going to be the pallet save here as Zaka expects. hook stage number 4 coming in here. So the question is now, we see that Zaka is leaving now, going for a fresh hook. So we are now changing the game plan a little bit, which I really, really like, because after getting in a spot of safety with the 3v1, you can now care about getting as many points as possible and going for the fresh hook onto ace here. Also considering that we are potentially close to an endgame, seems like a really, really good decision making by Zaka here.
Yeah, I do gotta say though, showing a lot of patience is Xi's here in the jungle gym itself twice, really making sure that they get the optimal use out of that window. And now we're going to see a 5th gen getting complete. That does mean now our survivors can start working towards them doors itself. And Ace, again, really continuing a very good chase. We do still have a pallet, I believe, up in this jungle. Oh, no, we've actually... Oh, but the head-on play to build distance. Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Okay, that's a very great move right here. And they also make it around this corner. And we have to say, though, 3 stages on 4 gens. And now we're in the end game with 4. They only handed out 1 additional stage since the early down onto René here. And there you can see why Sequence is in the grand final, because they are fighting and they are finding solutions in the most difficult situations. And even the dodge with the low pro chains here, that is potentially still the down onto Ace though, but you might make sure that your survivors are escaping. Feng taking the hit, so you would reduce it to 6 at this point. Ace on run towards the exit gate. The question is, will that be quick enough?
Oh, and they weren't able to get the door all the way there. You will notice that we still have that emblem on the right side of our screen. We do still have the no one escapes death. You have Killjet on the floor. You might be able to get the Atom on the floor here as well. And if Xi's is not very precise about what they do.
Is he escaping? No, he isn't. Is he? He's crawling. Oh my god, he's out. What a chain of events here in the end game. Now the pickup onto Bubazo. But that is going to be another fresh hook. Feng just escaping as well with a little bit of clicking. Hey, I'm gonna escape as well. So that is going to be 7 stages. Still an insane result for our Billie here. Definitely not going to be easy for Sequence to counter, but what an exciting end game this was.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, you rarely do you see the head-on play in competitive DBD. You see that to build distance. A very strong run by the Ace there. The really good play to come in to bait the continued plays by the Fang, knowing that you have the Unbreakable. I mean, really just everything lining up. Talking about having a really good, not only like awareness of what you have available, but probably what the killer's gonna be doing as well.
17-15 for the first set here. Eternal in a 2-point lead after that first one. 7 stages on Billie with 3 hooked across the board. Definitely a very, very good result. We're gonna see if Sequence can counter this to take the win in set number 1, or if Eternal is riding the wave Zaka just put up with 7 stages and gonna stay as confident as we know them. We're gonna find out after a little break. And same as Eternal, Sequence is also able to get in chase with 1 survivor fairly quickly here. That's going to be the Kate. That's Soda. Ozama here trying to curve around the rock. Doesn't work, but an amazing block of the window there. And that is the add-on coming in with the faster charging time. And that's another quick down Q. I'm going to say I saw 2 times now what I didn't expect to happen at all.
Yeah, it's very insane to see that very quick down coming from both of these teams, as both of the survivor squads have shown throughout the tournament to be very, very strong. But we did see, even though there was not only a fast down last game, but also a very fast elimination, we did also see the strength of that survivor squad and how quick they're able to turn things around. So let's see how our survivors are able to return here. Nice fake at the window there by Megan in order to be able to build some distance. The save coming in across the way, and I really like that play, honestly.
Really like it, and going back now for the elimination. A very common strategy here. Like to see it. The Kate able to hide behind these walls over here. We still see that also Corrupt is up. 30 more seconds here for the killer, so definitely some time. Interesting to see, instead of the hard tunnel we are seeing, or like camping, we see instead going back into chase. And that means if the Kate here is putting up a really good run, same as we have seen from the Feng on the other side earlier, that will mean that Bulbasaur is potentially losing more time than gaining from this elimination.
Yeah, it's an interesting give and take, right? Because it's like, you know for sure if you stay by a hook, you can force a second stage in 60 seconds. But you also know if you let somebody get off the hook and then you can get them down very fast, then you're progressing stages quicker. You have people getting off gens, there's less objective working done. It's an interesting kind of give-take that we often see. We do see, though, an ace now moving in. We're going to see the back grab. That is actually going to be down onto Dan there. I do believe the intent was to try and slow down the process of getting somebody removed from the trial, but that is going to be another fresh hook.
And that's a really good move here, right? Because we have seen 3 stages across the board on Sequence Survivor team. So if you get 4 survivors across the board here, that would be that extra point. So you wouldn't need 7 stages to beat. It would be enough to just tie with 7 stages and get it by the extra point. And that's a really amazing down here onto K. That is now a save coming in by, I think, Saka or Cass coming in. What a play. What a reply from Eternal here.
Yeah, that was insane. It looked like had happened to get very good bamboozle value. You thought maybe you were going to be getting a basement hook, and instead you get the pallet save, which one does, of course, prolong the chase, probably prevents the basement hook too, but also could be hyping up our survivor squad. And there comes across the way, but a nice mind game there in order to get the down. But now you will see our killer being very much aware of what survivors are around. Still able to get the BAM value there, though, and got the 2-for-1.
Wow, 2 survivors down, then someone coming around for the pallet save. That's the 3rd down right here. Bulbasaur is taking over. I mean, yes, we are scoring in the set-based format here, right? You need to take some risks, but they weren't 2 stages so far. They had 3 generators done. I'm not too sure if this big risk by Eternal was needed right here.
Yeah, I think it was just one of those, like, spur of the moment. But I think that's the other thing that's worth pointing out, though. You said that it's set-based, so you can take more risk. Because in this case, if you happen to fall behind in the one set, you still have 4 more sets that you can make up for it in, and the score starts 0-0 again after this trial.
That's true, yeah. I mean, if it works, then you really put Sequence in a huge pressure, right? Because then you made some fantastic plays, potentially out with 2 or 3 stages, and then you put a mental pressure on your opponent. Unfortunately, it didn't work, and Bulbasaur here absolutely strong. 3 downs, and there's the final survivor getting downed as well. That leaves Dan now potentially an unbreakable, maybe coming in on the survivor that just rescued, but that leaves Ace here as the last standing survivor. Bulbasaur just guarding this pallet here to make sure that Ace cannot work around, and that's an insane mind game as well. And that's the 4-man slug, and that's a DC coming in by...
Is that our survivors just admitting that that's the 4K, I guess?
Yeah, I think that's happened. I will say, though, it's not what you like to see in a grand final, right?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the situation of let's just move on to the next set, but yeah, I mean, at the same time, like, Bulbasaur kind of earned the right to be able to hook up the 3 and kind of get that little moral victory heading into set number 2.
That is going to be a 28 to Sequence then, counting as a 4K. So we have 43 points here for Sequence, 43-23. Gonna be a very, very clear first set. We're gonna update the score 1-0 here for Sequence after set number 1. Doctor is coming out in the next set. That is going to be Father Campbell's Chapel. We've
that was
seen
Eternal set too.
Oh yeah, that's tough, right? Hillbilly, it was Eternal set. That's true. So Sequence took the first win here, and they are now also playing on their set now, so you can really use your lead and try to build it up right here. I think Sequence might be in a really good position right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely you've got a huge moral victory there. It's not the 4K, but it's like the fashion that you do it in, right? To be able to cause kind of like the game to end so abruptly, like that has to have not only your killer feeling good, but when your survivors come back out, knowing that like you kind of almost have like the mental edge at this point. I feel like it's a very big thing to be giving to your opponent right now.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be.